A dying baby took his final breath when out of nowhere, a German Shepherd walked into the ICU and did something so unexpected the entire medical team froze in disbelief. Within seconds, everything in that room changed. And before anyone could understand what had happened, the dog vanished. What followed left the whole world searching for answers. Before we start, make sure to hit like, share, and subscribe. And really, I'm curious, where are you watching from? Drop your country name in the comments. I love seeing how far our stories travel. The hospital lights flickered softly as nurses hurried through the ICU, their faces tight with worry. In the corner of the room lay a tiny baby wrapped in blankets, his chest rising only in weak, uneven breaths. Machines beeped in slow, alarming patterns, each sound echoing like a countdown no one wanted to hear. Doctors whispered to one another, their expressions turning more serious with every passing minute. The baby's parents stood beside the bed, hands trembling as they held on to each other for strength. Tears streamed down the mother's face as she gently touched her child's cold fingers. The father tried to stay strong, but his voice cracked when the doctor said, "Prepare yourselves." These might be his final moments. Hope was slipping away, second by second, outside the hospital entrance. A cold wind swept across the pavement as doors slid open and shut. Suddenly, a large German Shepherd stepped inside, moving with a strange sense of purpose. He had no collar, no leash, no signs of an owner following behind. Yet he walked through the lobby as if he knew exactly where he needed to be. Patients and visitors stared, confused. A nurse gasped, "Whose dog is that?" Security guards rushed forward, but the dog didn't flinch. He simply looked at them, calm but determined. Before continuing deeper into the hospital, every step he took felt deliberate, like something was calling him. No one could understand why, but the dog was heading straight toward the ICU. The ICU doors swung open with a soft hiss as the German Shepherd pushed his way inside. Nurses froze mid-step, their eyes widening in disbelief. No one had ever seen a dog walk so calmly into a restricted area, especially one as silent and focused as this. He didn't bark or hesitate. He simply moved across the room, his paws tapping gently against the floor, heading straight toward the dying baby's bed. The parents backed away instinctively, unsure if he meant harm or help, but the dog's eyes were soft, almost sorrowful. He lifted his head and stood tall beside the tiny infant, as if guarding him. The entire room held its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. Just as the dog reached the bedside, the machines around the baby erupted into frantic beeps. Nurses rushed forward, their voices rising in panic. The baby's tiny chest struggled, each breath weaker than the last. As if his little body was giving up its final fight, the mother screamed for help, collapsing against her husband as tears streamed down her face. Doctors stormed into the room, shouting instructions, adjusting tubes, checking vitals, but nothing was stabilizing. One doctor whispered grimly, "He's slipping away." The air grew heavy with despair. Everyone knew this was the moment they had feared. Only the German Shepherd remained completely still, watching the baby with haunting intensity. As the chaos swirled around the room, the German Shepherd slowly stepped forward, ignoring the shouting, the alarms, and the frantic movement of the doctors. With a gentle lift of his head, he placed his warm muzzle near the baby's tiny body, almost as if whispering something only the child could understand. For a split second, nothing changed. Then one soft beep, another, a stronger one. The baby's heartbeat began to rise. A nurse gasped, covering her mouth. "No, no way." The baby's fingers twitched, curling slightly around the blanket. His chest lifted with a fuller breath. Then another, stronger than before. Doctors stared in disbelief, checking the monitors again and again. "This is impossible," one murmured. He was fading seconds ago, but the child was returning, fighting back with sudden strength. The parents fell to their knees, sobbing, thanking God, thanking fate able to understand how a dog had just saved their son's life, before anyone could speak. The German Shepherd slowly stepped back from the baby's bedside. His job, whatever it was, seemed complete. A nurse reached out to grab him, but he slipped past her effortlessly, walking toward the door with quiet dignity. Security hurried after him, shouting, "Stop that dog!" But by the time they reached the hallway, he was gone. No barking, no footsteps, not even a shadow when they checked the hospital cameras. The footage made no sense. The dog walked down one corridor and then simply vanished. The parents were heartbroken. They didn't even get to say thank you. The moment their baby opened his eyes again, the parents felt overwhelming joy, but also a deep ache. The mysterious German Shepherd who saved their child was nowhere to be found. The very next morning, they began searching for him, walking through every street around the hospital. They asked shopkeepers, security guards, even taxi drivers, showing the baby's photo and asking, "Did you see this dog?" Days passed. They visited animal shelters, posted flyers on poles, and uploaded the dog's picture online. Messages poured in from across the country. People wanted to help find the miracle dog. News channels picked up the story, calling him the Guardian Shepherd. But still, no real leads. Every night, the family looked at their sleeping, healthy baby and whispered the same words, "We owe him everything. We have to find him." The world searched with them, but the dog remained a mystery. Weeks passed, and life slowly returned to normal, at least on the surface. The baby was growing stronger, smiling more each day, but the parents never stopped searching. Then, one quiet evening, the father was walking home from work when he heard a faint, shaky whimper echoing through a narrow alley. He paused. The sound came again, soft, tired, almost pleading. He followed it cautiously, stepping between dim streetlights and old brick walls. And then he saw him. There, curled beside a trash bin, was the same German Shepherd. His fur was dusty, his body thinner than before, but his eyes, those gentle, knowing eyes, lifted slowly toward the father. For a moment, neither moved. It felt like destiny had led him there. The father whispered, voice trembling, "It's you. We finally found you." The father immediately called home, his voice shaking with excitement. Minutes later, the mother arrived with the baby in her arms. The moment the German Shepherd saw the child, he slowly lifted himself up. Tail tapping gently against the ground, the baby reached out with a tiny hand, brushing the dog's fur almost as if he remembered him. A soft smile spread across the baby's face, and the dog lowered his head, letting the infant touch him. Tears streamed down the mother's cheeks. "Thank you," she whispered, kneeling beside him. A vet was called to check for a microchip, a tag, anything. But there was nothing. No owner. No records. He truly belonged to no one. And yet, to them, he meant everything. The family sat beside the German Shepherd in the quiet alley, the baby giggling softly in his mother's arms. The dog watched them with calm, tired eyes, as if waiting to know whether he still had a place in their world. The father gently stroked his head and whispered, "You saved our son. Let us take care of you now." For a moment the dog hesitated, then he slowly stood, taking one small step toward them, then another. It felt like acceptance and trust. As they walked home together, neighbors peeked from windows, recognizing the miracle dog from the news. Cameras flashed, but the shepherd stayed close to the family. Almost protectively, that night they opened their door wide and said the words he had always deserved, "Welcome home."